Hey everyone, it's Melissa from StitcherMel.com. I'm also Stitcher Mel here on YouTube and on Instagram. This is a channel about cross stitch, and today is Sunday, December 8th. So I post videos, I try to post every 2 weeks. So my next one will be coming up on December 22nd. And I'm going to have a special guest if all goes well. So it'll just be me on that video. So definitely come back just before Christmas and see who my special guest is going to be. First, I want to apologize a little in advance. I know I sound kind of stopped up. I'm kind of battling a bit of a cold. And the lighting is not the greatest today. It's very overcast and rainy here in Southern California again. I'm not going to complain though. After so many years of drought, we definitely are enjoying the rain we're getting this fall and winter season. It's not quite winter yet, but you know what I mean. So let's get to the cross stitch. First thing, since it is a new month, I thought I would show my Ort jar. So I did move my November Orts into my Ort jar. This is what my November Ort jar looked like. And if you're new to my channel, I keep a small jar next to my stitching chair that I put my Orts in each time I stitch, and then at the end of the month I transfer them into this big jar, these are all my Orts so far for 2019. And I have had a couple of questions on Instagram and here on YouTube recently about just what exactly is an Ort. And a lot of people say it is an acronym that stands for old ratty threads. So it's like the little end bits, when you've stitched what's left over on your needle after you cut off your end. But I think, in my mind, the actual derivation, I believe it's a French word, and it was originally intended for food. It was like a scrap or a little tiny morsel left over type thing. So it makes sense that since these are scraps of thread, the same word would certainly work for these as well. So a little fun fact about Orts, but either one works. Old ratty threads or a scrap of thread, whatever. Okay, I do have one finish to share from last time. I wasn't sure if I would have any since I had 4 last time, but I do have one. This is Winter Wonderland from the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. I love those buttons. See if I can get in a little closer so you can see them. They are from Just Another Button Company. They are super cute. I love coffee and peppermint mochas this time of year, and I always love, although they're not really so much red cups this year at Starbucks, but everyone kind of recognizes that as the quintessential holiday cup. This is stitched on 32 count sterling Lugana from Picture This Plus. Super cute. And I used Weeks Dye Works Turkish Red or Turkish Red for the red. Everything else is DMC. So that was my finish. Okay. I also had 3 new starts this time. The first one, this was also haul, but I'm going to show it now because it was a new start. This is Away We Go from Country Cottage Needleworks, and you can see here my fabric. I just stuck the sticker on. This is a working copy of my chart. My original I've already got filed away, but I just stuck what my fabric sticker was on here. I'm using 32 count blue spruce. I decided that would be a little easier to stitch on than black and would still look really nice. My head is still kind of stopped up. I apologize. I know my face is kind of red. I'm running a little bit of a fever. So sorry for the flushes, and of course no makeup because I'm not feeling well, and a hat because I didn't feel like doing my hair. So, but I thought, better to get my FlossTube up on time since I'm not in bed deathly ill at least. Anyway, so let's see if I can fold this around a little bit. Here's how far I've gotten so far. I've got the center house done. I think it does look really nice on that blue fabric. The colors popped really nicely. So yeah, I definitely won't have this ready for this Christmas, but I like doing seasonal stitching, so I thought I would get that started. The next two I have are still on their Q-snaps. Yesterday I started the second panel of the Pumpkin Farm series from Shannon Christine Designs. I'm doing this as a stitch along with my best friend Tracy. If anyone is interested in joining us, it's hashtag Pumpkin Farm Sal. And I've been posting pictures on Instagram with that. And so this is what this square will look like when it's done. And that's how far I am. And it's 3 separate charts, but I'm doing them all in a series on a single piece of fabric. If anyone chooses to do this, just a heads up, this first row of stitches on the left-hand side duplicates between the pumpkin truck chart and the pumpkin house chart. So if you're stitching it, just know you're going to have one. It's not marked on the chart, but you will have one overlapping row, I discovered. And the same will be true between pumpkin house and the next third panel, which is called pumpkin patch. The last row of this, or column of this one, and the first column of the pumpkin patch chart overlap. So, and here's what all 3 of them will look like when they're stitched together. And I am stitching this on, I believe it's 32 count Heartland. Whatever the new neutrally color that Picture This Plus brought out at market this year. It had previously been in a Lizzie Kate Christmas kit a few years ago, and now they've added it back to their line permanently. So that's what this is on. I think the name is Heartland. I always want to say Heritage, but I think it's Heartland. And I bought a yard of it when it came out this year because it's such a great neutral. Okay, so that is that one. And then the last of my new starts is Let It Snow by Tiny Modernist. And I had all the writing done completely and ended up realizing that I had spaced things incorrectly. And because of the way the border is around it, I couldn't really fudge it. I had to fix it. So I literally had the words completely done and had to rip out everything but the word let. Let and the letter S. NOW came out and IT for it came out. All that came out. So it was a little disheartening, but you know. Oh, and here you can see another one of the coffee buttons from Jabco. I just took and used some E6000 and glued some of the rare earth magnets. What are they? Neodymium or something like that. Glued one on the back and then have a little separate one, and I turned it into a needle minder. I think Jabco buttons make awesome little needle minders. I have a few others as well that I've done that too. This fabric is Midnight Lugana. I think it's 28 count from Garibaldi Needleworks on Etsy. And I'll link all the shops and everything below. But yeah, I think that's a really pretty fabric. It's great for that chalkboard look. Okay, so those are all of my new starts. Excuse me. The cold medicine I took is giving me a bit of dry mouth, so I may have to pause for a sip of water every now and again. Oh, and I'm wearing my Seahawks shirt for tonight's Sunday night football game. Go Hawks! I may live in Southern California, but I am a Seahawks fan, so yeah. Okay, so now we're going to move on to whips. And after I recorded my last FlossTube, I came up with this crazy idea. I realized that November is the halfway point in the year of Stitch Mania. So from May to November is 6 months, and from November to May is 6 months. So we're literally at the halfway point between the last Mania and the next Mania. And so one of my goals with Mania is I do the Blimey Cat method. So I do a combination of I stitch on all my existing whips, and then any that I need to fill, I don't have more. I only have generally 10 to 15 whips. I try and keep it in that range. So the extra days where I don't have a whip, I put in a new start. And so at the end of Mania, I will always have whatever the last 2 digits of that year is as far as whips. But then I try and knock several of them out before the next Mania rolls around, so that I'm in that 10 to 15 range. So every May, I'm generally starting maybe 4 or 5 new projects. Well, I thought, and some of them I only stitch on in May, some of my older whips especially. So I thought, well, wouldn't it be a great idea to work on all my whips at least twice per year? So I came up with what I have deemed the Half Mania project. And so what that means is in Mania every year, I will do my normal Mania. And then for Half Mania in November, I will stitch on just my whips. No new starts. It's not another Mania, but in November. It's just taking everything I had in Mania and stitching on those again, so that I'm stitching on all my existing whips at least twice per year. And so what I deemed to be stitched was I needed a minimum of 200 stitches in each piece for it to count as a completion for Half Mania. And I did do a hashtag for when I was posting about all this on Instagram. I believe I used hashtag Half Mania project. But if it was something different than that, I'll put it on the screen, but I'm pretty sure that's what I used. So that's kind of the explanation of Half Mania. So I pulled out a bunch of my older whips and worked on them. So the first one I'm going to share, this is my oldest whip. This is Taj Mahal Garden Mandala from Chatelaine. And so that's where I am now. This is on 32 count Ray of Light linen, which from Zweigert, which is a discontinued color. I got this kit as a gift 11 years ago. Oh, sorry, Nick. From a friend of mine. He is of Indian heritage, and I had always commented on how much I loved it. And so he gifted it to me Christmas 2007, actually. Now I remember it now. Christmas 2007, he gifted me this. And it was a new start for me on January 1st of 2008. So I'm just shy of 12 years. And as you can see, I still have a lot to go. So I kind of need to focus on this some more so that I can get some more work done. But what I got done during Half Mania was I added in this tree and got started on this tree and did these little flourishy parts here. So that was my 200 stitches right there for Half Mania. Yep. I do love this piece. It's gorgeous. It's one of those lifetime projects though, because with all the specialty stitches in it, it can be very intimidating to stitch on. So that's that one. The next one, my second oldest whip. This is a counted canvas project, actually. Let me get that thread out of the way. This is Plum Blossom Kimono, designed by Margaret Bendig. She is a local teacher and designer in my area. She teaches classes at my local needlework shop, which unfortunately doesn't really carry cross-stitch stuff much anymore. She only carries needlepoint. So I really don't have a local cross-stitch store anymore, unfortunately. But anyway, so what I did for this, I finished off this kind of flange here. I think before I had this square done, so I did these 4, which was more than 200 stitches, but I was just kind of enjoying it, the process of all those specialty stitches. And so I kind of went with it. And this is my own colorway that I came up with. The design itself, she has 3 different colorway options. I don't remember what they are though. but none of them really fit with my decor. My living room, I have kind of sage green microfiber furniture. So I kind of created my own. And so what I did was I started with this fiber. It's kind of a wine and yellow and sage green. It's a silken colors. And so I started with that as my beginning point and then kind of pulled colors out to go with it. And the original design also did not have any metallics in it, but I love bling. So I am adding in bits of metallic along the way. Usually in like filler type stitches, like here I've got them in this square and those little spots there. And then I've got it in this one. I try not to put them in every block, you know, so because I don't want it to overtake it. But yeah, so for those I'm using a combination of Krynic and Rainbow Gallery braids. Some are the Petite Treasure braid, some are the LeMay braids. So I'm using just a variety of metallics. So anyway, so that is my kimono. And in a related note, I guess this kind of would go in haul. So when I was working on this, I looked everywhere and could not find my laying tool. And you definitely need a laying tool when you were working on these. So I kind of had to adapt and improvise, and I used a chopstick, which was really too bulky, but it was the only thing I really had. I used a combination of that and a needle, a thick needle. And so since I couldn't find it anywhere, I decided I would order one. So technically, I guess this is haul, but I'm going to show it now. So I went on Hollis Hand Creates. It's McCollis Hands, I think is her Instagram, I think. Anyway, she has these gorgeous laying tools. So I ordered one from her. This is beautiful. It's wood, but look at that point it comes to. That's amazing. I'm going to have to get something to store this in because I'm afraid that tip might get broken off if I'm not careful. So I really need to, for now, I'm just keeping it in the little bubble wrap bag she sent it in. And you can see it's got kind of two grooves for decoration kind of there at the top. Just a really nicely turned laying tool. Very lightweight, but enough weight you can really use it well. So of course I ordered it. And before it even arrived, like 2 days after I ordered this one, I found my other one. So, and I'll pull this out, and it comes in a little tube. This is the Shea Pendray Best Laying Tool. As you can see, it also comes to a very nice sharp point. Not quite as sharp as the wooden one, but it comes to a very sharp point as well. And this one is made of stainless steel. It's definitely shorter than the new one I got by quite a bit. So what I think I may do, since this one, the Shea Pendray tool, has the little carrying case and is metal, so it's a little more hardy, I think what I'm going to do is put this in my travel bag of supplies that I have when I go to my local stitching classes or go to a friend's house to stitch or travel, that sort of thing. And then keep this one to use when I'm at home. So that's my thought. So that was a little sneak peek of haul before we get there. So, okay, so I'll put this away. So the next piece I work on, and I'm showing these whips initially in order of age. So the kimono is my second oldest. This is my third oldest, which is Royal Holiday from Mirabilia. Oh, I love that. It's so pretty. All the shading and draping. Oh, it's so gorgeous. I am stitching this on 32 count conifer linen from Picture This Plus. And so what I stitched on, let me fold this up a little bit so it's not quite so unwieldy. I added all of this. Yeah, this whole brown bit. And then this red bit is also new since the last time you saw it, but that was not during my Half Mania. I added that this past week for part of my homework for Magical Stitches. I was stitching on a cloak. So, yeah. Okay, I'll fold that correctly later. And now the rest of these, I'm not sure that these are in order. I think they are as far as chronologically by age, but the next one here is Garden Party by Satsuma Street. This was originally a stitch along from So-and-So in the UK. And I bought it then, but you can now buy it as a chart. And she has two different colorways. This is the cool colorway. And then she also has a warm colorway that's done in oranges and pinks and reds. So what I did was all of this section right in here for my Half Mania. And I think this may become a focus piece for 2020 so I can get it done. Next is Two Birds in One Tree from Modern Folk Embroidery. I am stitching this using a Sulky Blendables 12-weight cotton in Peacock Plume. So that is just a single, I get a lot of people saying, oh, I love the colors you used. This is a single color. It's just a variegated thread. But I think Sulky does an incredible job with how they do their variegation. They do it differently than most of the companies. Most of the companies, they do a very repetitive pattern. It's X number of inches in this, and then X number of inches in that color, and so on and so forth. Where they have theirs a completely randomized methodology of how they variegate the colors. And so it's, you know, different increments, different colors, and it's not a repeating pattern. So I think you avoid kind of that stripy look that you can get with a lot of variegated floss. Oh, and I forgot to show what I did on this one. So what I did for my 200 stitches was brought down this border. Yep. That may also become a focus for 2020. I've got a few of these more medium-sized type patterns I kind of want to get done. Okay, next up, and oh wait, no, that's out of order. I'm doing these by age. So the next one that I worked on for Half Mania was Four Seasons from Little House Needleworks. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, both of these, the Garden Party and Two Birds, One Tree, these are both on just white 32 count Jobelin. So this is Four Seasons from Little House Needleworks. I've got it folded around, of course. They'll all four go on here together. And I am stitching this on, what is this on? Summer Khaki, I think. Yeah, Summer Khaki, 32 count Summer Khaki linen. And so I finished the bottom part of this square and then started the next house for my Half Mania stitching. Yep. And then the last thing I had to work on, because a lot of my whips I had already worked on earlier in the month, so I only needed, I think, 7 to have worked on every whip I had for the month of November. I'm trying to fold this one around a little bit so I don't have so much fabric to deal with. This is Stargazer by Mirabilia. I did all of this upper part of her body. So you can see the negative space here is going to be her arm. And this is stitched on 32 count Dusk from Pole Stitches in the UK. It's Lugana. Love that. And this is a Zweigert. They use Zweigert fabrics. You can always tell Zweigert because they have the little bit of orange in their selvage edges. So if you have a selvage edge with orange, it's a Zweigert fabric. At least that's my understanding. I could be wrong. So if I am wrong, correct me. But I believe that indicates it's a Zweigart fabric. And I tend to use a lot of Zweigart fabrics. I prefer Zweigart over Weichelt or weeks, either one. I like the higher count weeks, like 36 and 40. I'm not a fan of their lower counts, like their 30 count. It just feels a lot stiffer to me than their higher counts, and I don't like the stiffness of it. And that's the reason I prefer the Zweigart fabrics over the Weichelt as well. I think Weichelt fabrics in general are stiffer than the Zweigart. Okay, so that wrapped up my half mania, but I did have some other pieces I have worked on since my last video. So most of these were worked on here in this first week of December. So I pulled out my Be Inspired by Stitch Rovia. As you can see, I have all the outline done, so I'm just filling in now. So since I've shown it last, I filled in this little scroll, this little bit, I think it's a half a flower, a little peak of a flower, and then the first half of the fill-in on this banner. And oh my Lord, is that the most boring stitching ever, because it's just beige and it goes forever. Yeah, because this is like 500 stitches or something. Yeah, it's boring. But I love how it's looking, and this is definitely one I want to finish in 2020, so it will definitely be a focus. Oh, and I borrowed Michelle Bindy's idea and added some diversity to my piece, and both hands were Caucasian in the original charting, and so I made one a more of a browner skin tone, and I plan to do the same things down here. I'm going to do the little sailor girl as charted, so she'll be Caucasian, and then I'm going to do a brown skinned mermaid, because I think brown skinned mermaids are cool. Yeah, we don't see enough brown skinned mermaids, and little brown skinned girls need to see brown skinned mermaids. As Diana from It's Kismet Stitches always says, representation matters. And I fully agree. Okay, the next piece I worked on, and I mentioned in my last FlossTube that I would be working on this that day for Sunday High Tea, which I did. This is Log Cabin Autumn by Gracewood Stitches, stitched on an unknown 32 count white linen using the called for DMC. And so I got this part all done, finished up this, and then did that. And I think I did a little bit more down here on this border as well, downward. And for those who may not have heard, High Tea is changing in 2020. So the way High Tea has worked up to now is every last Sunday of the month was Sunday High Tea. And so you either did a new start, or you stitched on something that was really special to you, or a project you had designated specifically for Sunday High Tea, which is what mine was. But now, instead of being a monthly event, it will be a quarterly event. So, and it will be on the first of the month instead of at the end of the month. So on the first day of each new quarter, so January 1, April 1, July 1, September or October 1. Is that right? Do I have them right? Yeah. It will be a new start. So 4 new starts for the year. Or you can, of course, do as you've always done. And if you have a specific project you want to work on for High Tea, you could continue with that. I mean, I could do that with this, but I think I would really like to get a little more progress on this versus just 4 days out of the year. So I may just do a new start on each of those. So, but you can head over to Caroline Off the Grid Needle Arts, and she had a video, I was trying to remember if it was her latest or the one before that. It may have been her latest one, but in one of her recent FlossTube videos, she talks more about how it's changing up, and she's the one who kind of came up with the whole High Tea idea. So for the best explanation, I would say go to her. Okay, and then my last whip I'm going to be showing off is Quilting Bee from the Blue Flower. And I worked on this both for some magical stitches homework last week. One of the assignments was to find something, you had to find something interesting, and one of the things, there were 4 things that were interesting, and one of them was an insect, and of course a bee is an insect, so I stitched on for that. And then I also stitched on this for my December acrostic for the 24 hours of cross stitch group. I was trying to remember what category I used, because the acrostic is 12 days of XS. What did I work on you for? Oh, F, flower. So the F in of, I stitched on this since it's by Blue Flower. So yeah. And I don't know how well you can see it, especially on a cloudy day like today, but I'm adding blending filament 032. Yeah, I think you can see that in the wings to give it some sparkle. It really shows up so much better in person than it does on camera or film. So, okay, so that takes care of all my whips. Oh, and I'm already 30 minutes in. This video is going to be long. I should have prefaced that at the beginning, and maybe I'll add a little note across the screen since I didn't say it, because I also now have a lot of haul to share. So let's jump into the haul. And I've already showed the laying tools, so we don't have to talk about that. The first thing I'm going to show is a journal. And you're like, well, that's not cross stitch. Well, it kind of is. Although this journal, I bought the covers, I bought on Amazon. And it came with disc screen. This is a Circa Junior size planner. And the rings that came with it were just awful. So I replaced it with some little mini discs I had from Happy Planner, and it works much better now. But what I have put in this is the new 24 hours of cross stitch planner for 2020, created by the lovely Jen at Quirks and Stitches. So if you have not seen this, and I haven't printed every page, she has an explanation page. I didn't print that. But next year there will be a year-long alphabet challenge. And so she's got a tracker for that. She's calling it the year-long ABC challenge. Then for each month, you'll have a January highlights page. And she has a walkthrough video where she shows these. And now this was originally intended to be, her original design is for full letter size. So 8.5 by 11. Or I suppose if you were in an international location, it would probably print just fine on A4 size paper. But I prefer smaller planners. I don't like big planners. They're just too bulky for me. So I wanted mine in half letter. So I scaled it down to 50% and printed it. I took just regular 8.5 by 11 paper, cut it in half this way along the long edge to create 5.5 by 8.5 paper, and then just adjusted my printer settings to print it on that size paper. So this is the monthly calendar, and you can see she has a little tick box for each day that you can tick off if you stitched at least 24 minutes. Then she has the it keeps flipping. She has the January acrostic. So that's what we'll be working on for January. She has and these printables she puts in the Facebook group each month, so you don't have to buy the planner to get these. The acrostic, the holidays, and the calendar will be for free, downloadable still in the Facebook group. But if you print them out anyway and want to get ahead, and have everything ready for the year, this is a great way to do it. And it's only $12 on her Etsy shop. I mean, come on, $1 a month to have all this stuff already laid out for you, and you just print it out and go. Totally worth it. And it's awesome to help another stitcher. Am I right? Yeah. I mean, she put a lot of work in this. So, I mean, she certainly deserves to get paid for it. Yep. So these are the holidays. So if you want to stitch along on all the fun, weird, quirky holidays throughout the month, she has those for you. Like January 7th is Old Rock Day. Pull out a project with rocks on it. Fun. Then she has a page called Just for Fun, and it says list 24 of your favorite designers or 24 designers you would like to stitch. So that's the Just for Fun for January. And then we had the highlights at the beginning of the month, and then there's a recap at the end of the month where you can wrap up everything you did. Then she has some optional pages that you can print. And so this is one she has for just a weekly planner. So you can put, each day what you stitched on, and if you're tracking it, whether you're tracking time, stitch counts, whatever, there's a place for that and a little place for notes and reminders. Super helpful. So and then it goes into February, which just repeats. A different acrostic, of course, for each month and different holidays for each month, but the layout itself is the same throughout the year. So I just showed you the January. And then this notebook that I bought, it came with 60 pages of filler paper. So you can, I just left that in the back. And the cover, which is a really nice, hard polyplastic, was $7.99 on Amazon, and if you have Amazon Prime, it was next day delivery. So it's but I would definitely recommend replacing the rings because their rings were horrible. And with these rings, the full year is 86 pages if you print absolutely everything. So I'm probably going to do this. It said on Amazon with the rings it came with, which were 1/2-inch rings, by the way. These are 3/4-inch rings. It said it would hold up to 120 pages. So I'm thinking I could probably get 150 pages with the 3/4-inch rings. So that way I can print, and have Jen's full calendar in here. I don't know that I'll do the weekly recaps. I might, though. I don't know that I'll leave them in, though. But that would be a really great way for me to track if, things like magical stitches and that sort of thing, stitch counts and stuff, which I have been tracking on a spreadsheet on my computer. So, and that's been working pretty well. So I might just leave that there, and that way I don't have all the extra bulk, and I can just have my monthly pages in here. So, but anyway, this is what the planner, it's from Eagle. It's a disc-bound notebook, and I searched for the junior size. I searched for Circa Junior Planner to find this. And they do, if you have a Staples has some as well. They've got the Martha Stewart line, which there's one that she has that's kind of a robin's egg blue or kind of a light aqua that's really, really pretty. But it's a lot more expensive. They're like nearly $20. And so I thought, $8 and I'm done, that worked for me. And so once I had my pages printed and cut, I used my We Are Memory Keepers planner punch board to punch my disc edges. If you look at the bottom, and these are available at Michael's and Joann's, Amazon, directly on the We Are Memory Keepers website. If you look at the very bottom, I should mention, it comes with round hole punches for punching out your paper. The ones for the disc opening for these type of pages is an add-on purchase. The planner board, my local Michael's has this on clearance right now for $9. They were originally $25, but it's not been discontinued by the manufacturer. I think maybe Michael's is just dropping it. But you could buy the optional disc planner punches for an extra $8. So I definitely think, this is great because I can now punch anything. I can, punch round hole stuff for 3-ring binders. I can punch stuff for my Happy Planner or for a Circa Planner, which have slightly different configurations. But if you look on the bottom, it gives you the configurations for everything. So this came printed on it. And it's got, 2-ring binders, 3-ring binders, Filofax, Webster's Carpe Diem, Franklin Covey, Daytimer, Heidi Swap, Instax. It's got all kinds of options on there in various sizes. And it tells you over here just where to put the little punches in. Because if you look, I'm going to have to hold these in so they won't fall out. If you look, there's little numbers along the bottom here. You just line them up with the associating numbers it calls for on the bottom. And that gives you your punching. Well, then once I bought the disc add-on, it comes with another sticker you can put on the bottom for the various disc type planners. And so I used the Circa Junior, and it tells me that's a 5.5 by 8.5 page, and then it tells me the numbers. So it tells me a pink, a brown, a pink, a brown, and if you look inside, that's exactly what I've done. So if you're a planner person and you have multiple styles of planners, I think this thing is awesome because you can punch for everything. I use it for my Filofax. I use it for my Happy Planners. I use it for my Circa. I mean, so yeah. And they even have one set of optional punches you can buy for like the Erin Condren style spiral bound planners. I mean, so with just purchasing a couple of extra sets of punches, you could have any type of planner you're ever going to want in one punch, and you don't have to buy all these different punches. So I digressed big time, but I just thought I would share. Okay, so covered that. Next, I have some project bags I got from the lovely Denise at Goose. Love you, girl. The first one I got is this sunshine and polka dots. And she does make vinyl front project bags. So if you are not familiar, you can see, you know, what's inside because it is a vinyl front. Very well made, nice zipper pull cord that coordinates. Really, really pretty. And then on the back, she has her logo, Goose. And then I also got this really cute. I love the old-timey trucks for Christmas. And so that is what this one is. It was so hard not to use these because I got these, I don't know, maybe a week and a half ago already, and I wanted to use them so badly, but it's like, no, wait and show them in your FlossTube first. And this was the one I wanted to use the most because I'm running out of pumpkin season almost. So, but yeah, so love those pumpkins. And then it's got this gorgeous kind of homespun check on the back. Really, really pretty. And then she is also now making these little floss buddies, and they snap closed so you can store them in your bag. And inside, she's got a little felt heart where you can put your needle. And she has made the conscious decision. She initially had planned to put a magnet in it to hold needles, scissors, whatever. And she ended up making the conscious decision to instead do the felt heart because some people who have medical devices, they can't be around magnets. And there are a lot of stitchers who may fall into that category. So she opted to not put a magnet in it for that very reason. So I think that's really, really awesome that for those who can't use the magnetic style, you know, that are available from other Etsy shop owners for holding your floss, it's nice that there is an alternative if they want to use something that doesn't have the magnets. So, and I don't have any medical devices or that, you know, I have to worry about magnets. So I actually have some from a lot of different people. I like to show the love. So I've got this one from Denise. I've got Snippities from Marion the Librarian. I've got Bitsy Bobs from That's So Kellyco. So yeah, I share the love. Okay, the next thing I got in haul, this was a purchase I got from their business card has their regular website, but I got it from Etsy. This is the Sweetwater Cotton Shop in Minnesota. And again, she's on Etsy and I'll link it down below. This was a kit which she called the In Full Glory Complete Kit. It was $65. You can see there. I don't know if she has any more left or not, but this was what came in it. You got a copy of the Sweet Land of Liberty book from Blackbird Designs. And the name comes from, is In Full Glory. Make sure the chart's not on here. Okay, it's not. Because one of the charts in here is called In Full Glory, and that is the In Full Glory design. And she's got it fully kitted. So you got the book for that chart. Then she has included the linen that you need, all of the fibers that you need, the called fors. Gorgeous. She has included some trim that you'll need for the finishing and some beautiful antique vintage buttons. I think there's 3 in here. Yeah, they did not come in this floss away bag in her packaging. They were loose. They were all in like a plastic self-sealing or sealing cello bag type thing. And when I put it in a project bag, I put the trim and the buttons in a little floss away bag just so I won't lose them. And then the last thing you got was the backing fabric for the finishing, which should look absolutely gorgeous with this fabric. Yeah. So that was that. And the book alone is $20. So you're only paying another $40 to get the linen, the finishing fabric, the trims, and 6 fancy flosses. So I thought price-wise, it seemed like a really good deal. So, and I love being able to just click one button and get everything. So that was the Info Glory Kit. Now comes Chart Haul. Ooh, I did some damage on charts. Black Friday, Cyber Monday, so many Etsy stores were running specials. And I can't speak for everyone, but I prefer PDF charts. I know a lot of people prefer the printed charts, and that's fine. You do you. I like the PDF charts because I live in an apartment. I don't have a ton of storage space. And I have way more storage space on my computer than I do in a room, in a filing cabinet somewhere. And so I prefer buying PDF charts anytime I can. The only printed charts I really ever buy are things that are only available in printed charts. So like all my Little House Needleworks, all my Country Cottage Needleworks, those are things that are only available in printed charts. They do not offer them in PDF anywhere. So that's what I buy. But if I can get it in a PDF, I will, every time. So first up is Madame Chantilly. Now I know a lot of people, and I posted this in the Goose Designs and Java Girl Stitches Facebook group when I bought these a couple of weeks ago. I know a lot of people like me have been looking for this 3-tiered tray Merry Christmas chart, and it's sold out everywhere. Well, I was on her Etsy shop, and I happened to notice in the see more info, type information area that she said if you would like a PDF copy, just contact her using her contact shop link. And so I did. And I got it via PDF the same day. Now, she does give a caveat that, it could take, 1 to 2 days because there is a time zone difference because she is in Italy. It just so happened I happened to catch her when she was on. And so literally in less than, I think, an hour or 2, I had my custom charts. So, yeah. So I got that one. And I'm going to hide over my address here. But she does personalize these so that, you can't share these. I mean, well, I suppose you could, but it would be a really, sorry for anyone who may be offended, but it would be a really asshole move to share these because she puts a lot of work into these. And as a designer, she deserves to be paid for the work that she does. And so she adds a watermark with your name and address on every page in the chart. And it's a watermark though. I mean, you can still see through it. You can still see the symbols and everything, but just know your name and address is going to be watermarked on every page. So if that's going to bother you and you would rather wait for a printed one, then, wait for a printed one. But I don't mind it at all. So I got that one. And because no chart should travel alone, even via email, I got the Halloween one as well. Super cute, right? How adorable is that? The little Ray Dunn inspired looking mugs, they're so adorable. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. Yeah. So I got those from Madame Chantilly. That's Celebrate Halloween and Celebrate Christmas. This next one, literally the moment I saw it, someone shared it on Instagram. I was all over the Etsy store buying it. Look at that. Oh, Autumn Alphabet from Willow Hill Samplings. That turquoise pumpkin with that black cat and that crow. Oh, perfection. I love that. I think I'm going to stitch this. I've got a couple of pieces of applesauce Lugana from Color and Cotton. I'm thinking this is going to go on that. Yeah. I may start this one actually in January. In the Semi-Sane Stitchers group, they're doing a alphabet series in 2020. So every 2 weeks, you start a different letter of the alphabet. And so, of course, this would be Perfection for A, which is January 1st through the 14th. So that might be a New Year's start for me. Next, I have from Long Dog Samplers. I'll just forget what I said the first time because I think I said it wrong. It is, I'm going to butcher this, I'm sure. Le Jardin de Plaisir. Anyway, the Pleasure Garden. I know what it translates to in English. I just don't know how to say it in French. Isn't that gorgeous? Now, it only calls for 3 colors. It calls for black, a gray, and a red. And the true called for are Gassed, I believe. Yeah, because Buckeye Scarlet is the red, so that's Gassed. But there is a DMC conversion, but I'm going to do mine in DMC, but I'm going to slightly change the colors. I'm going to do, instead of black, I'm going to do a dark gray. And instead of the gray, I'm going to do a light gray. And instead of the red, I'm going to do a pink. So it'll be 2 shades of gray and a shade of pink. And my inspiration for this comes from my best friend. And she just finished recently, in the last week, the Jardin Privé Quaker, Eiffel Quaker. And she did it in 2 grays and a pink. And it is stunning. And so I decided I'm going to borrow her colors, which I actually did. One of the pink I helped her pick out when she started it. So I think I'm going to use her colors. So it's the 2 new grays, which I think are maybe 2 and 4, something like that maybe. And the pink is 776, if memory serves. So that's what I'm going to use for that. Next up is a new design from Waxing Moon. And I was kind of watching Jacqueline. Oh, I couldn't think of her name. I was kind of watching Jacqueline's progress on Instagram as she was stitching this. And the more she stitched it, the more I loved it. So this is called Watch It Snow. And this is another one I'm sure she will release it in a printed chart because Waxing Moon has always done printed charts. But I grabbed this as a PDF from her Etsy shop the day it was available, first day it was available. So yeah, that's another nice thing about PDF charts is instant gratification. I mean, you don't have to wait for something to arrive. You don't have to pay postage. Yeah, it's awesome. So, but I have a couple in mind that I want to do this for. And it's actually a married couple of 2 husbands. And so I think what I'm going to do is where this says, well, I could leave it cuddle up with your bow but just change the other snow person to another top hat and have 2 top hats. And I was thinking then, of course, that took me down the thought of, oh, but what if I ever wanted to do it for a lesbian couple? Then what would I do? Because obviously they're not going to want cuddle up with your bow. So I'm thinking I might rechart it using my Max Stitch software to say cuddle up with your love. And then you could have 2 of the regular caps and get rid of the top hat. And that way, you know, you could do it for any couple, a traditional male-female couple or a male-male or a female-female. So, or love would work for non-binary couples as well. So, yeah. Cute. Cute, cute. And as you probably know from watching some of my past videos, I have been collecting the house series from Little Stitch Girl by Jordan Nickel. So this is the final house in that series. This is the Sunshine House, which goes with, the first one is Harvest House, which is fall, Frost House, which is winter, Blossom House is spring, and summer now is Sunshine House. So that's that one. She also released another one in her Lane series. So this is Fa La 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 Lane. 4 La's. So cute. And so she also has a firework street like this, and then she has a Halloween street. Yeah, and so this is the Christmas street. So I got that. And then I got Plaid Tidings. And this doesn't show up the grade. I mean, this was a PDF, so, but it's a red house, a green house, and she's calling this a white house. It's kind of black, gray, and white. And they're all buffalo check. So, so cute. And so it's, of course, a play on Glad Tidings, but it's called Plaid Tidings. And each chart at the bottom of it includes a cute little quote to go along with it. And I don't want to show the chart, so I'm going to bend this back. But you can see here at the bottom of this one, it's got a C.S. Lewis quote, and it says, "Everyone begins as a child by liking weather. You learn the art of disliking it as you grow up. Noticed it on a snowy day? The grown-ups are all going about with long faces, but look at the children and the dogs. They know what snow is made for." How cute is that? So each house has its own little glad tiding at the bottom. Okay. And I know Michelle Bindi talked about in one of her videos, you know, perhaps doing a SAL for these, because I know she got this chart as well, as did a few other people who commented on her video, myself included. So this is probably going to be a SAL. So, okay, the next one I got, and this is the last of the paid charts I got. This is Santa Claus is Coming to Town by the Little Stitcher, not to be confused with Little Stitch Girl, who is Jordan. This is the Little Stitcher, which is Laura in Italy. How cute is that? So you get the chart for the little house piece here at the bottom, as well as the ornaments at the top. So cute. Love that. Now, the last two things I wanted to share here in haul are freebies. And I just wanted to share them to make sure people were aware of them. Kathy Haberman. I always have to correct myself because I immediately want to say Haberman, but I have learned it's Haberman. She has a Facebook group called Hands on Stitchers, and she puts out freebie designs there occasionally. And she put one out right before Thanksgiving called Give Thanks. And she doesn't give any, she says on here, you'll notice that I'm not giving any specific linen and thread color choices. Pull your favorite combo together and have fun. So that is that one. And when you print it, you get 2 copies of it. So, you know, maybe share one with a friend. And I think it's because this is the way she sends it to shops so that they can, you know, get the most charts out of their print. So, but if you're downloading it from her group, and you get 2, you know, share the stitchy kindness maybe and send the other one to someone else. And then the next one, this one was shared on Instagram, I believe. Is that right? Or maybe your blog. Anyway, Tanya from the Scarlet House has Be Merry, and this is a freebie, so I'm not worried. As both of these, I'm not worried about showing the chart because they're easily downloaded from the internet. And then the last one, which I know was Instagram. Oh no, you know what? I think this was on her Facebook page, maybe on Scarlet House. But the last one I forgot to print out before the video. It was an Instagram one, and it is from Hewlett House. And I can't show you on my phone because my phone's right there. Hewlett House. And it was a cute little black crow wearing a Santa hat. So I'll link her Instagram below, and you can go and find that on her Instagram feed. So I think that is everything. I know I said in my last video I was going to talk about 2020 stitching plans today, but since this video is already an hour long, I will save that. And I've kind of already talked to the person who's going to be my special guest in 2 weeks when I have my next video. And we're going to kind of talk about our 2020 plans together as part of that video. So I think I'm going to wrap things up for today. It's an hour-long video, and I know a lot of you, like myself included, appreciate shorter videos, and I know this one went really long, but I just had so many whips to show and so much haul to show because of Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and my Half Mania project. So this one just ended up being really long. So if you're not a fan of the longer videos, please know I generally do not try and record videos this long. I try to keep them shorter. So, all right. So I hope everyone has a lovely next 2 weeks and gets lots of stitching done. If you have any questions, certainly leave a comment below, and I will respond to those as they come in. And happy stitching. Bye-bye.